So let's get started on this seemingly complicated but actually obscenely simple gym. So now that we're fighting the underlings, it's going to give me time to finish off what I was talking about in the last video. I was about to mention how Toast and Anna the Titan also read crappy fanfiction for donations, and I think the one everyone remembered the most was Metroid High by 111 Samus Ridley Forever 2006. And with a name like that, of course you could expect nothing but literary genius on par with Stephanie Meyer. Seriously though, it is the net plus ultra, the pinnacle of horrible fanfiction. I'm going to give you a link in the movie description, because you really owe it to yourself to go check it out, just to see how horrendous horrible fanfiction can be. And yes, how horrendous horrible fanfiction can be sort of repeats itself, but I think it's richly deserved in the case of Metroid High, as we see the clock turn, keeps turning. Boring! There we go. Seriously, that's why they shouldn't have made it so complicated. Just put 3 trainers, they're back against the wall, their line of sight, that goes to the other wall, that's it. That's all you need to force players to fight 3 trainers in a row. But back to Metroid High, its quality is pretty much really on par with the Half-Life Full Life Consequences, which begs the question, how come no one picked it up and gave it the exact same treatment? Make videos on Gmod about it, stuff like that. It would be the best thing on the internet, and one of the commenters on my channel suggested that they should make a crossover between Full Life Consequences and Metroid High, and that would be the best thing on the internet. But yeah, I wasn't quite done with the marathon just yet. Of course, we had a big surprise near the end when we reached $10,000. Brit, as promised, revealed what the March 2011 marathon would be, and everyone took for granted that the 2011 Pokemon Marathon would be in December, as it was in 2008 and 2009, but no! It's gonna be in March, most likely before Black and White's release in North America. Oh well, at worst, I think we could consider it a pre-release party or something to that effect, as the clock is going to move around again, and took a lot less time than the last time, and there go the fountains. So if I want to go back to the Pokemon Center to heal from here, I can do that. But I'm doing really well, so I don't see why I would need to do it. And by the way, this gym is slightly different in Diamond and Pearl, but the concept is the same. You gotta find all the trainers that are in a maze of trees and stuff, and they're partially hidden by the trees, and you gotta fight them all before you can fight Gardenia. Basically, same concept, but it has you running around in a maze. And still not very thrilling, considering anyone worth their salt should battle every trainer they see anyway. So, there goes the last underling, which means I can go fight Gardenia now. And I've mentioned how she's able to lift a 113-pound Cacnea in her hands like it was a freaking basketball. Well, I should really give an honorable mention to Iris from the Black and White anime, who keeps a 40-pound dragon in her hair and her neck doesn't snap from it. Seriously, 40 pounds in your hair? Try to do that. Anyone, you're gonna lose your head faster than you can say Paris Hilton has no head to begin with. Now you may be wondering how exactly I'm going to be fighting Gardenia, since I'm not going to be able to do much damage to her Pokemon with just my basic attacks that are usually not very effective, and Bite, which is sort of weak for what I'm going to be facing. But don't worry, I didn't come in here without a plan. Remember that handy curse move that I learned at level 17? Well, that's where it's going to come to good use. So I'm going to curse up 6 times here, because Turtwig, Gardenia's Turtwig, of course, knows Razor Leaf, Grass Knot, Sunny Day, and Reflect, which means epic setup fodder. So here goes curse number 2. Grotle grows slower and slower as I curse up, but it's not that much of a problem since Grotle has a base speed of 36. Not exactly the fastest Pokemon around, I know. So now I'm just going to be taking those Grass Knots, I guess. At 6 damage apiece, it shouldn't hurt too much. There goes another Grass Knot. I'm a bit surprised it hasn't tried to set up... Ah, there we go. Just as I was saying, I was surprised it didn't set up Sunny Day. It does set up Sunny Day, which is sort of important because in Diamond and Pearl, Gardenia had a Cherubi, but now it's evolved into a Cherim. So Cherim changes forms. In sunlight, it boosts its attack and special defense. No, not attack and defense. Not a special attack and special defense, attack and special defense. This is probably meant to make Cherim the perfect Groudon partner. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's the end result. Well, it would be the ultimate Groudon partner if Cherim didn't suck so damn much to begin with. So now I got my 6 curses up, so that means it's time to sweep! So let's choose Bite. Reflect again. Oh wow, now all my attacks are going to be cut by half unless I use Mega Drain, which obviously isn't that good of an idea. Nonetheless, with 6 freaking curses, Turtwig goes down. And oh, Rose Raid already? I thought since the sunlight was up that she would send out Cherim. Bad decision! Bad decision! And oh, Quick Claw kicks in! Wow! That was lucky, and let's see how Bite goes. Whoa! A one-hit KO! Even through Reflect manages to one-hit KO Rose Raid, which means those 6 curses really were worth it because I effectively had the effect of only 3 curses thanks to Reflect, and it still got the one-hit KO, so no, I'm not really worried about Cherim, especially since there's no sunlight anymore. Bad decision. Why didn't she send it out while there was sunlight? And what? Cherim survived? And now the Super Potion. Oh, well, doesn't matter too much, but I'm still a bit surprised that Cherim survived, but not Rose Raid. Maybe it's a sign that it was a much closer call with Rose Raid than it seemed like. But there we go, Cherim goes down after a bit more trouble than I expected. But it doesn't really matter because I have got the 2nd badge. Now, to be frank, this was one of the battles that I was wondering how I would perform in, but there was really no need to worry. Grotle just did fantastic with those 6 curses. In fact, I think it would have been even better to bring a Grotle instead of a Torterra for the simple reason that at level 32, before evolving, Grotle learns Leech Seed, which I want on my moveset, and right after evolving it also learns Earthquake. So that means Mega Drain and Curse would have gotten the axe, and no Curse to fight Gardenia with would have been, well, not that good, even if Torterra does have much higher stats than Grotle to begin with, but then again, her grass moves hit Torterra for neutral, whereas, oh thanks, because that was totally needed. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, Gardenia's grass attacks hit Grotle for not very effective, but Torterra for neutral, so yeah, maybe it was a good thing that I didn't evolve too early, but I'm sure I'm going to have my Torterra when I fight Jupiter. Yeah, your Pokemon look much tougher than when they went in, and that's how I see it. It was only 1 level! It's not that much. You can see 1 level worth of improvement just by looking at the Pokemon. Well, I'm impressed if you do, because not many RPGs have a massive difference between level 29 and level 30. Or 30, 31, doesn't really matter. So, now that I'm healed, our next destination is the old chateau we couldn't access because it was protected by cuttable trees, but now that we can use cut outside of battle, we can cut those trees and get into that creepy chateau. And here's Gardenia here, who obviously has teleportation powers on top of her super strength. A ghost Pokemon of the old chateau. Which one, Ghastly or Rotom? Because, yeah, that's where Rotom is, but as I've said earlier, I'm not going to go for Rotom today. I'm going to wait until I have a sleeper and Dusk Balls. And, yeah, I'm always busy. You're just scared. There we go, right on cue. So, now guess it's gonna be time for us to go in, and that was completely pointless, except maybe to set the mood for, ooh, there are ghosts inside the old chateau, ooh! Well, Halloween was yesterday, so maybe it's a little out of date. Oh, there's an item over there, I'm gonna grab it. Anyway, there are a lot of rooms in the old chateau. I don't think all of them have something in them. Maybe some of them have hidden items, but I don't really care about hidden items. Even though I say I'm trying to grab as much as I can, of course I'm not going to go for every hidden item, but there are people who are acting like I actually do give a crap, so I'm just going to say, if I forget a hidden item somewhere in there, don't bother commenting. I really don't care that I forgot a hidden super potion or something like that in there. Unless it's something I need, just stay silent, please. So maybe I just saved you 1 or 2 minutes of your lives. So yeah, in this place there are nothing but Ghastlies in there. Well, except for the Rotom, which we're going to come back for later on in the game. But otherwise, yeah, nothing but Ghastlies, though you can get Haunters and Gengars. If you got a Pokemon Game Boy Advance game in your Game Boy Advance slot, and even there I don't know if it's only after the National Dex or if you can get them before as well, because I never really bothered with that. And yeah, Big Pearl. It's gonna be real nice to make some money when I get back to town. And while I'm in this place, I might as well mention, a paranormal phenomenon that's been occurring in this channel as of late. For some reason, I have had a massive wave of unsubscriptions from Canada. Well, of course there are the usual unsubscriptions that are pretty much normal, that's life, people unsubscribe and I can deal with that. But most of them do come from Canada, even though Canada only makes like 10-15% of my viewership. Almost half of the unsubscriptions I get are from Canada. So what's going on? Did I say anything to offend Canadians in particular? I don't think so. Heck, if I pretended I was a separatist, I don't think I would have offended enough people to create that wave of unsubscriptions. And just before you ask, no, I'm not a separatist, just so that everything's clear. So, yeah, what's going on? I have absolutely no idea. If anyone could enlighten me as to what's going on, I would love to know that. Not that I really care that much about my subscriber count, it's only a number, but I do find it strange that only people from Canada are unsubscribing. Well, not only people from Canada, but in Canada, much more than everywhere else in the entire world. So in this room, you talk to the TV and then you can fight Rotom, but as I said several times, we're going to do this later. Don't worry, I can't forget about it because this is the only place where you can meet Rotom, and we're going to need to do that fight in order to get the National Dex, so there's no way I can forget about this. So, yeah, I guess this is going to be all for today. Maybe one more random battle, but otherwise, if it doesn't come, then that's going to be all for today. See you next time!